Hello and welcome to our NFL preview series where we're going through each of the 32 teams en route to the NFL season kickoff, which happens on Thursday, September 5th. Today, I continue and wrap up my look at the AFC North with the Cincinnati Bengals. And you know what? The 2023 season just was not the best for them. They entered with strong playoff hopes, but it went downhill quickly. Joe Burrow was hampered with a leg injury that slowed him to start the season and then got knocked out for good after 10 starts thanks to a wrist injury. The Bengals continued to fight, and they actually finished 9-8, but they were the fourth place team in the AFC North and the only team in the division to miss the playoffs. Now Burrow is healthy. Can that make a difference? The Bengals did bid farewell to a couple of veterans this offseason in the backfield. They saw Joe Mixon head off to the Houston Texans. They also saw Tyler Boyd follow their former offensive coordinator, Brian Callahan, to the Tennessee Titans. They lost Elijah Williams, Irv Smith, DJ Reader, Nick Scott. But they did bring in some veterans. They grabbed Von Bell and Geno Stone at safety and defensive tackle Sheldon Rankins. But on offense, it was a couple of big additions. They grabbed Mike Gesicki to add to the tight end room, but they also had to grab a new running back, and they did that with Zach Moss, who was with the Indianapolis Colts in 2023. He started the season really strong for the Colts, leading that backfield while Jonathan Taylor was out. He ended up finishing as RB31, more of a reflection of the fact that the back half of the season Taylor took over. But he rushed for 794 yards and 5 touchdowns. In the draft, they also took care of the trenches. They looked and grabbed offensive tackle Amarius Mims. They grabbed a defensive tackle in Chris Jenkins. But in the third round, they grabbed an interesting wide receiver in Jermaine Burton. He came from Alabama. He caught 79 passes for 1,475 yards and 15 touchdowns in 2 seasons there. Among the fantasy prospects, well, it all starts with a couple of old college teammates, and that is Burrow and Jamar Chase. Burrow is back healthy, sporting a new Eminem-style haircut, if you've seen that. In 10 games last season, he threw for 2,300 yards and 15 touchdowns. But in the 2 previous seasons, he threw for more than 4,400 yards and 30 touchdowns. I think he returns to form and is easily a QB1 again in 2024. In the backfield, it's Moss and second-year back Chase Brown. Brown looked explosive at times down the stretch for the Bengals, but he only rushed for 179 yards on 44 carries. I think Moss is the more experienced back and has shown an ability to carry a workload. I like him as an RB2, but don't sleep on Brown. I think he is going to end up being a flex-worthy option. Could be up in the RB3, RB4 conversation. Among the receivers, I really like Jamar Chase. They also tagged T. Higgins. Higgins wants a new contract, but he is signed his franchise tag and will be playing. I suspect he'll be motivated. Despite some uneven play in 2023 at quarterback, Chase was still wide receiver 11. I like him as a top 5 option at receiver, again, with Burrow back healthy. I like Higgins as a wide receiver, too. Jermaine Burton is an interesting dynasty stash for me, but I don't know if I'm trusting him week to week in a redraft. I have long been a fan of Mike Gesicki. I have pitched the Mike Gesicki breakout for a couple of years. I'm off the Mike Gesicki train until I see it actually happen. So for me, with the Bengals, it's probably Burrow, Moss, Chase, and Higgins that I'm most locked in on as week-to-week starters. So where does that leave this team? Well, I liked the Bengals last year, and then injury sort of derailed it. Every year we have a team go from worst to first in their division, and it feels like something of a cheat that the Bengals are that option for us this year, although this was the case the Ravens were in a year ago after they had a tough 2022. They really sprung to the top in 2023, getting everyone healthy. I think the same thing happens for the Bengals. They are the team I like to win the AFC North and be a high seed in this year's playoff competition.